On June the 4th, 1989, I stood outside the Chinese embassy in London with my fist raised and sang to the best of my ability the Chinese national anthem. And I will do it every year until the injustices that were perpetrated in the Tiananmen Square massacre are rectified. We need to understand the relationship between the regime of crisis that is in the Zhongnanhai, the Communist Party HQ, and its attitude to Hong Kong today. As a journalist, I've had the privilege of traveling sometimes freely inside the People's Republic of China, in many provinces, including Wuhan, and spoken to many officials as well as people in the unofficial trade union movement inside the People's Republic. The first thing to say is this is not a monolith. It looks like a monolith now because Xi Jinping is strengthening power around himself. But we know, everybody with contacts knows, that both within officialdom and among the workers, there is extreme skepticism about the way that the party handled the coronavirus, about the slowdown in economic growth, and about the breaking of a deal of pluralism inside the party. I think we need to understand as well the role that Hong Kong plays in the imagination of the party bureaucracy, because Hong Kong is a permanent reminder, not just to the rest of the world, but to the CCP, that the image of the Chinese people that they want to project as obedient social conformists who don't want freedom, who don't want trade union rights, is always blown apart whenever we see Hong Kong. That's the first thing. Hong Kong society is full of liberals, Democrats, yes, some right-wing nationalists, some Trotskyists, some Maoists, and a lot of students who value freedom of thought and freedom of expression. And make no mistake, that is what China will be like when China gains freedom. The next thing is Hong Kong is also a conduit. My book, Live, Working, Die Fighting, circulates underground inside the People's Republic because Chinese students translated it and published it for free. When I was in Hong Kong in April 2018 at a small private conference, which saw labor movement activists from Guangdong province come over the border to Hong Kong and meet with radicals and democracy protesters in Hong Kong, that too is what the Chinese bureaucracy fears. Those activists were mainly young, mainly female, and even after the 2016 protest, there had been real links created between labor movement activists in Hong Kong and those across the border in the factories, in the workforce, in the workshop of the world, Pearl River Delta, and that's what they fear as well. The People's Republic of China is unfortunately, I think, on a collision course with the West over both Hong Kong and Taiwan. On the 20th of May, the US State Department passed a new strategy, which, if you haven't read it, go read it. It's online. It makes clear that the USA has changed its view of China and now sees the People's Republic as a strategic competitor. That means much of the politics of the West, both in Washington and here in London, will in the future be more and more focused around anti-Chinese sentiment. And we on the left have to fight that just as much as we fight for democracy throughout the world. In particular, because there is a part of the British left, an influential part, that stigmatizes the Hong Kong democracy movement as reactionary. It's a disgrace that this narrative is even there, but unfortunately it's there, and we just have to fight it. Finally, I want to say that, of course, the threat to give full British citizenship to those entitled to it in Hong Kong is actually a piece of geopolitics by Trump and Boris Johnson. But those of us inside the UK who are consistent Democrats must actually support the right of Hong Kong people to ask for British citizenship. And when they say a route to British citizenship, we know this is a racist society, a colonial, ex-imperialist society. We know how many obstacles will be put there. My final point is a route to British citizenship for those who want it must mean you arrive in Britain, you apply for citizenship, you get citizenship. But of course, what we really want is freedom in Hong Kong and freedom for the people of the People's Republic of China. The last time I was in the Great Hall of the People during Xi Jinping's inauguration in 2012, what was most noticeable was the absence of the people. And when the people enter history, as they did in Tiananmen Square in June 4th, 1989, and before it, the true destiny of China will be realized. Thank you.